Hello, in this video we'll look at the steps to create a new checkbook within the bank reconciliation module in GP. The checkbook is the most important part of the bank reconciliation module, and everything revolves around the checkbook within this module. So how do we go about setting up a new checkbook? You go to Cards, Financial, and then Checkbook. The first thing we need to do is assign an ID to the checkbook. Just like any other ID within GP, once assigned and saved, it cannot be changed or edited. So it is crucial that we come up with the right name, and I advise everybody to not use the bank name or the account number on the checkbook ID because those two things may change in the future. You want to use something more generic indicating the function of the bank account or checkbook ID like petty cash or operating. So we will use operating in our example. However, you can use the description field to put in the bank name and the account number, at least the last few digits, so that when users are looking up different checkbooks, they know which bank account is associated with each checkbook. The next field is the currency ID, and it is important to understand that you can have only one currency ID, and therefore transactions with one currency ID associated with the checkbook. So if I select the euro to be the currency associated with this checkbook, then I can only enter transactions that have euro as their currency. You also have the ability to assign a payment rate type and a deposit rate type. Those are not required fields, and they are only used as a default when you enter a new payment or a deposit. They can be edited on a transaction by transaction basis as well, or you can just leave them blank. Next field is the cash account. Now this is the GL account that is associated with this checkbook. You should always have a one-to-one relationship between a checkbook ID and a cash account. And once assigned, you should never use the cash account directly in any journal or any transaction. You should always let the checkbook drive the transactions and balances of the cash account. So I'm going to use an account that I set up recently. Now the check number and deposit number, if they are driven by the bank, and in most cases the check number is, then you go ahead and put whatever value the next check number and next deposit numbers are going to be. But if you have some leeway on the deposit number, then you should come up with a number that is not too long, because that makes it difficult for you to search and look up transactions. The next field is the company address ID. This is the address that the bank has of your company. You've probably set up a few addresses for the company. If not, you need to set up the one that is associated with the bank and go ahead and select it. Then you can go ahead and put the bank account number that is associated with this particular account, and then the bank ID. You can go ahead and set up all the bank information like the name of the bank, the address, phone numbers, the transit number, bank branch number, and the DD transit number. All of this information can be saved on the bank maintenance window, and all you have to do is just look it up and select it. Now there are a couple of user-defined fields if you want to track additional information. Now these labels are editable from the general ledger setup window. The next two fields are important from a reconciliation point of view. These two fields will be editable until you do your first bank reconciliation within GP. Once you do that, these two fields will become grayed out and you will not be able to edit them. So this is also the same place that you're going to be putting in the beginning balance when you're starting your reconciliation of a particular checkbook. You also go ahead and put in the last reconcile date of the last bank statement date in most cases. The last piece is related to the payables options. Again, these are purely optional, but it's advised to set them up to have better controls. So you can set up a maximum check amount, and in case the amount exceeds this amount, any check amount exceeding this amount would have to be overwritten with a password that you define here. You can also specify if the bank allows duplicate check numbers, and if you want the user to have the ability to override the check numbers when they're processing new checks. Now, both of these options, in fact, all of these options are not set in stone. You can change them over time. So in some cases, then you have to override one time. You could always come in and check it and then override the check number and then come back and uncheck it, so that it does not allow you to override the check number again. The other two things that you could do from this window are the EFT bank and the direct deposit. We are not going to go into those two functionalities in this video. The next video, we're going to look at entering transactions against this checkbook, and then we'll see how reconciliation is done at the end of the period. Bye.